finished just months ago and already falling apart. Across estates like this, walls crack, window seals fail, damp finds a way in, and you can hear every word your neighbours say through walls that promise to keep them out. 41% of warranty claims on Britain's new builds are excluded before they are even addressed. The cause is not age, it is what happened long before anyone moved in. Rows of identical rooftops stretch across the Midlands horizon, each plot measured and mapped with precision. The streets carry names that evoke woodland or riverside calm, yet beneath the surface, every detail is planned for maximum density. Developers' banners promise a new kind of living, warm in winter, cool in summer, and whisper quiet behind triple-sealed doors. Brochures highlight A-rated energy performance and the peace of mind of a 10-year warranty. Show homes gleam with flawless paint, perfect grout lines, and the scent of new carpet. Buyers are told to expect low bills, modern comfort, and a blank canvas for family life. The marketing language is confident, calling these homes future-proof, crafted with care, and engineered for lasting quality. Every corner of the estate is designed to suggest order and reliability, from the aligned driveways to the neat, repeating facades. For many, stepping over the threshold is a milestone, keys handed over with congratulations, the promise of a fresh start. The first moments inside are filled with hope and expectation. The quiet is striking, the insulation said to be state-of-the-art, the windows advertised as keeping out both drafts and noise. On paper, these homes should be the best Britain can offer. But behind the doors of these freshly finished houses, the reality of mass production is only just beginning to reveal itself. Within weeks of moving in, the checklist begins. Cracks run along the corners of freshly painted walls, stretching from skirting boards to ceiling lines. Door frames shift just enough that latches stick or won't catch at all. Along the floor, gaps open up beneath skirting boards, wide enough to slip a coin through. Engineered floorboards lift at patio doors, the edges curling where moisture has seeped in. In the kitchen, a window that once closed with a soft click now rattles in its frame. On cold mornings, condensation forms between the panes of double-glazed windows, leaving cloudy streaks that resist every attempt to wipe them clear. The promise of warmth fades as drafts creep in around shallow window reveals an icy edge on the living room air. In the bathroom, tiles show fine cracks across the grout, lines spreading outward from the underfloor heating. A faint musty smell rises from a patch of damp just above the skirting in the hallway. Upstairs, footsteps trigger faint squeaks in the landing floorboards, a reminder of movement below the surface. Rain leaves its mark as water stains bloom on the ceiling near the roof valley, darkening the paint with each storm. In one corner, the sound of a neighbour's television carries through the party wall, every word clear as if the volume belonged to this house. The snagging list grows. Sticky doors, misted glass, uneven floors, walls that echo distant voices. Each note on the list is a record of disappointment, a tally of faults that weren't meant to appear so soon. The house, new on paper, is already showing signs of strain. A building physics consultant stands in the unfinished hallway, moisture meter pressed against a timber stud. The digital display reads 23.4%, well above the 20% safety threshold set by the National House Building Council standards. He explains that timber should be enclosed only when its moisture content falls below 15%, but this reading was taken on a plot where the frame was closed up 2 days after heavy rain. The probe bites into the wood, confirming what the warped door frame and cracked plaster already suggest. The structure was sealed before it had a chance to dry. In the living room, another reading from the skirting board comes in at 21%. The consultant points out swelling along the edge, tracing how the expansion has pushed the door out of alignment. He notes that shrinkage will follow as the timber dries out inside the wall, causing further movement and fresh cracks in the plaster. According to National House Building Council Buildmark data, moisture-related timber defects account for 12% of all accepted warranty claims. one of the top 5 categories nationwide. These readings are not isolated cases. Across the estate, similar tests reveal a pattern: fast-tracked builds, high residual moisture, and a cascade of defects that begin with a simple number on a digital meter. The evidence is clear. Speed has outpaced caution, and the consequences are written in swelling wood and shifting walls. A cavity wall, cut open for inspection, exposes a streak of hardened mortar joining the inner and outer leaves, a bridge that defeats the air gap's purpose. The NHBC inspector checks tie spacing and finds excess mortar, a shortcut seen in 7% of cavity wall homes. These mortar bridges, invisible once sealed, channel damp into living spaces months after completion. Along the hallway, a jagged crack splits the screed. The inspector traces it, noting underfloor heating was switched on before the screed cured. This rush, driven by looming handover dates, accounts for 4% of build mark claims. Cracks like these create cold patches and uneven floors, sometimes demanding full replacement. Those costs are often outside warranty coverage. Outside, the drainage trench sags, where soil was compacted too quickly. Pipes beneath shift out of line, leading to 3.2% of new builds reporting drainage complaints. Blocked pipes, damp floors, and slow leaks that surface long after move-in. Each issue points to a moment when speed trumped process. Inside, an acoustic consultant sets a sound level meter by the party wall and plays a television recording from next door. The meter reads 45 decibels, above the standard for new homes. Gaps in plasterboard and thin wall build-ups let sound travel easily, erasing privacy. Footsteps, conversations, even switches echo through. The inspector tags each breach, building a record of shortcuts converging into lasting defects. A cross-section of a 1970s semi-detached house reveals a wall nearly 300 millimeters thick, 2 courses of brick, a wide cavity, dense blockwork, and deep-set window reveals. The mass of masonry deadens street noise and holds warmth long after the heating switch is off. In contrast, a typical new build drawn from recent HM land registry plans shows an external wall just 150 millimeters deep. The cavity is narrower, the insulation thinner, and the window reveal barely frames the glass. According to a survey of over 3,500 floor plans, 62% of homes built since 2018 use walls of 160 millimeters or less. Acoustic consultants have measured a 3 decibel drop in party wall sound insulation compared to pre-2010 standards, enough to make footsteps, conversation, and televisions from next door noticeably louder. The thinner build-up also means more heat escapes through the fabric, especially at shallow window reveals. Modern design maximizes floor area, but the trade-off is felt in every echoing room and every draft that slips past the skirting. The promise of energy efficiency and quiet is undermined by a structure that sacrifices mass for space, leaving new homeowners to wonder why their brand new house feels so exposed. A letter arrives, stamped with the builder's logo and NHBC branding. The lines are polite but final. The claim for cracked skirting and misted windows is denied. The explanation calls the claim cosmetic, not structural, and refers to the exclusions list. 41% of complaints, according to NHBC data, meet the same fate. For the homeowner, the promise of a 10-year safety net evaporates in a paragraph. The cost of putting things right, cracks, drafts, and failed seals, lands squarely on their shoulders. Heating bills edge upward. An extra £95 a year is spent just to keep the living room comfortable. The numbers are echoed across the postcode. Freedom of Information requests map out hotspots. Riverside Park, a Midlands estate, stands out in red on the overlay, each house a point of heat loss and unresolved snagging. From above, the pattern becomes clear, one owner's frustration multiplied across hundreds of homes. The scale is not just personal but systemic. Every new home stands as a promise and a test. As Britain races to build, the true cost reveals itself in living rooms, not balance sheets. Quality isn't just a standard, it's a legacy. The next generation will inherit what today's shortcuts leave behind. What kind of homes will we give them?